So I'm going to now show you how we can set the system to flow from here to of capillary action. It has taken water, so you're going to see something soon. Water is going to come out. Water is coming out.
Yes.
I need to have the water here, so I block it with my hand and maintain the pressure. As long as you see, it's heavy, it's very heavy now. It means that water is in. Once the pressure is here, I can be like this. It can be like this for 100 years. The water will still be there. Pressure, it will not go back. If I remove my hand now, it will go back. It goes up. So it will, no, look at the signs. Out. So it goes back. Now if I bring it down here, what happens? Exactly, so it goes out. It can't go back. Okay, so the principle is that I have to now put my hand in there, send it down. Once this water level is below the water level here, okay, it will flow into this one. Yes. It will simply flow. So it's now flowing. You can touch it. It's heavy. Yeah. As long as my hose was below the water level, it will flow. If it's above, it will go back. Capillary reaction. I just block it. It's heavy. Even when you do that, you see that this is very heavy. There's water in it. But once you remove the pressure up there, it will go back. So I make sure I'm down, pressure on hose. Okay. That one is for the pump. Return pump. The water return. There are times that you still have debt trapping inside. No. During its work. So you have to always be careful. When you see stuff like that, you have to check it. Get it sorted. Okay. So you see how I put it? It's supposed to lie flat that way. It lies flat and then you are good to go.
Okay. How long can it be in the water before maybe one can say so?
So see what is happening. See what is happening.
Wow.
So it's spraying the water onto the mesh. And when the nitrosomonas, they'll build up in about 3 weeks. They will build up in there. We use this is their shelter, this is like their house. Okay? And as it sprays onto them, it's feeding them. Okay? You see what is happening? It's feeding them. Okay, so from here, it needs to go back. But before it goes back, the last process is to break down the nitrite to free nitrogen. So you feed
this one does not have to be closed?
No, just open it. It's supposed to be open. We actually need sunlight to help with the process. So if I put this under shade, I'm not going to get the amount of sunlight I need to build up the algae. We need some amount of algae as well. So very soon you see this water becomes green because of the proteins you are putting in. See, already the color is changing. The color is changing. Very soon you see, give it about some 3 days, it will turn green. So now let's look at, is there any other question you want to ask?
No, I was asking how long this can be in the water, the pumps.
The pumps can be...
one can say maybe it's now because in water so long in service.
No, it doesn't have any problem. It's made for water. So it can be in water for a lifetime. These pumps are very strong, very durable ones for that matter. So as long as it's working as long as you have it sorted out. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the way it's moving, you come and it's it's not moving the best way possible. So you take it, put it off, open it and check.
And how will you be able to determine the level of the speed of the water? Tell yourself that maybe it's a malfunction somewhere.
Exactly. So now that's what we call the initial setup. If we decide that we want a marker and we mark this level of water, that is the level of water all the time the pond should have. At any point in time, once we started, even if all these holes, there are 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If all these holes are working and bringing in waste, and at any circumstance, look at this, since it started working, it has not gone down below this level. So it means that if you come and then your water level is like close to the pump, it's close here.
Yes.
You're almost getting off the pump. Then there's a problem. It means that either the waste is blocking, it's being blocked from coming, okay, or maybe something has restricted this from
bringing the water in.
So sometimes you have to come and check everything, make sure all the holes are well straightened out. Okay. At any point in time, if there's a restriction to flow, then this water will come down. Because this water is here because this hose is bringing it from here. Is that okay? So if this hose have any problem, then the water here will come down. The pump will always work, okay, as normal as it should. The only time you come and the pump is not working very well, you see that the water flow here is not as you see here now. Then you have to check again and then find out what is actually wrong.
Can we decide to off it for some reasons? If there is like a electricity shortage or something, can we decide to off it?
Yes, you can off it, but it's not advisable. It's not advisable because the system is such that if you off it, means that you'll not be feeding the nitrobacter. So it means that they cannot do their job, isn't it? That is the reason. It needs to be a continuous, we call it the continuous recirculating system. This is what we call the continuous recirculating. So it needs to be continuous. The only time you off it is when you are probably doing routine maintenance. That, routinely I want to maintain my pumps and check everything is okay. And you do that. Now, before you ask, in case you want to take away all the water.
This is the question I wanted to ask.
Okay. Under what circumstances will you have to change the water? Under this circumstance, if everything is working perfectly, you don't have to change the water. There are 2 major circumstances under which you have to change the water. Total change of water. One, when you identify there's mass infestation, maybe there's bacterial infestation among, we have the most common one is the tail rot. Sometimes you see the fingerlings having some tail rot. Okay, the tail is getting rotten, whitish substance, as if there's a sore on them. Generally, you see, there's a problem. Then you put off your pumps, and then you open the valve.
For the water to flow.
The water will just flow. So you just channel it somewhere safe. The water will flow out. Almost everything. Is that okay? Good. Then the second premise under which you have to change the water is when you realize overfeeding are setting. At times you come and then the water is so brown and it's smelling like feed. Means that someone has gone ahead to overfeed the animals. So the water has become polluted. Now this is the way the water becomes polluted. When you feed them and they did not take the feed, in about an hour or 2, the feed sinks to the bottom. When it sinks to the bottom and they are not eating, what happens is that
mix up with their feathers?
Aside that, it's going to rot. And if it's getting rotten, anaerobic degradation of the feed will use extra oxygen. Okay, it depletes the oxygen in the system. So that means that the oxygen that they
machine will not be able to provide.
No, it will overwhelm it.
Okay.
Okay, it will overwhelm it. The bacteria the good bacteria and then the nitrification system is supposed to help the fish to survive. The water becomes conducive for them. But if you artificially cause that problem, then it will affect them. You understand? So what it means that once you have excess feed in the system and they do not eat it, it will start getting rotten.
Okay.
The rotting process uses extra oxygen. That means that they will be depleted. They will not have enough oxygen to survive. So sometimes the most common precursor is that you see all of them coming to the periphery of the pond, try to gasp for air. All of them, almost all of them, at the periphery of the pond. So once you see them at the periphery, that means that they are not happy. At that point, you put feed in there, they will not mind. They will not eat.
And they will not happy the middle.
They will not even eat when you give them feed because they are struggling to survive. So at that point, then you have to change the water, put in fresh one, and then they will be fine. If it's infection, there's a way to go about it. We do salt treatment. You bring the water down to about 1/4 and get a quantity of salt, and then you put it in there.
Before you pump the water in, especially from fresh
Salt, yeah.
pond like this, and we don't know the quantity of the water.
Even
Would it be advisable for someone to
the quality of the water.
to know the quality of the water?
Yes, it will be. But I always use this as a home remedy or check. Is the water drinkable? Is it a potable water? Can you drink it? When you drink it, do you die? Do you have any infection? If you drank the water for a long time and you think that the water is okay for you, it will be okay for them.
That's okay.
Because sometimes you want to go and check. Yes, ideally, theoretically, yes, you're supposed to check the water quality before you put it in there so that you know what you are giving to them. But in case where you go to the rural setting, you don't have that ability to test. What do? Find out. Do you drink the water? Say yes. Has it killed anyone? No. It can be wet. You can still use it. You understand? So these are some of the remedies you have to use. So going forward, you always have to check your pond. Once you are coming to feed them, you check. Is it okay? The level of water. Sometimes, in some cases, I even mark it. Then I know that if I mark this and I mark that, the same amount of water is supposed to come here, and then it will set that level for me. So I know that under normal functioning, the water level should be here. And that level also should be there. As long as that level is there, the water level in this tank should be here. Simple. If I come and it has reduced, then there's a problem somewhere. First remedy.
Can it reduce for some time and all of a sudden you start seeing coming up again?
So usually what you can, the first remedy is to see. There are times that you find, because there's a lot of waste coming in, the waste comes to probably meet the mesh. You see the mesh, there's a hose. It comes to hit against the mesh like this. So then the waste blocks the tip of the hose, okay, because of the mesh that is catching it, the contact with the mesh. So sometimes the flow is restricted because when there's so much dirt at the tip of the hose, and then the mesh is not allowing it to flow through, then there's a problem. So what you first do when you come, you see the water level is too low, it's too close to the pump.
So you have to remove.
You don't have to remove it. You just do this. You try to pull it forth and back, and then pull it. Try to push it like this, so that you can free the tip, the end, and then you do the same thing here. Okay. When you free the tip, then you watch. If the water level start coming up, then it's okay. So there was some dirt that was preventing it from coming. If you do that and it's still not working, then what you have to look at is probably one of these holes that is bringing the water has stopped functioning. So the quantity that's supposed to come at the time has reduced. Then you have to turn off your pump. Probably you can still maintain it. Then you start checking one by one which of this is not working. Then you can now reset it again and bring water here, like I've shown you earlier, with the capillary system. Then you put on your pump and then start to function. Okay, so always you have to know the level of water that you should have in this. Once it's set this way, I know that at any point in time my pump should be submerged to this height. What happens when the pump begins to draw air? When it's not made to draw air, it's made to draw water.
Okay.
So once you start having it drawing too much air for a longer period, 1 hour, 2 hours, by the time you come, it's fried. You cannot pick it again. It's blown because the rotor will become so hot that you cannot even take it again. Then you lose the pump. So always make sure your pump is submerged. That's why this one is submerged. So anytime you come and then you see the water level has gone down below this and it's hitting the top of this one, you can see it. That means that you have to top up the water so that it can cover it. Is that okay? All right. So always use this as a check. That as long as this one is covered, then I'm safe. Everything should be working fine. All right.
Do we have cases of overflowing of ponds maybe due to heavy rains or something?
Yes, we could have it. But what usually we do is that, in case there's no one here, I could set an overflow system for you, automatic. As long as you are not there, you can leave it for several months, no problem. It will never overflow the level. But usually, mostly people are around. So once it's ready, you know you are around, you just come around and then open this a little.
Okay.
So I know that I don't want it to overflow. So if it's raining and it's getting to the tip, I just have to open it a little, let some go. As some is coming in, it's going, flowing. So it's bringing water here and it's flowing out. So once the rain settles and it got into the level I want, I just close it. Then everything comes to normal. But there's a possibility that it will overflow. I've had that one once. Yeah. That was because when we filled it, it was too close to the rim, and then unfortunately the next day it rained heavily for over 3 hours, and then it had to go over the system.